Hello everybody, Dave from Area Reacted. So we're going to do a little bit of this and that. Just a handful of stuff. I don't know what we're going to do. I'm just going to wing it. We are going to feed a handful of tarantulas that have molted in the last 10 to 14 days. We'll check up on a few that have molted recently, some that you guys don't know about. The first update I want to give you is the egg sac, or the eggs with legs, for the Cosmos ori all dried up. I do believe I made a mistake with that. I'm not really quite sure. They weren't that close to the heat, but I didn't take into consideration. I mean, they weren't in open air, so they only had air holes on the side. So I just don't, and they had the water underneath with air holes underneath. So the humidity should have come up through. It was a lesson that I learned. It's not a very good lesson. Let's put it that way. But I'm hoping that she still looks rather large, so I'm hoping she drops a second sack. So if she does, we're going to leave it in there for 30 days instead of 24. If she doesn't, then we'll try and find another male sometime. I kind of feel bad because I know a lot of people wanted them. They're not all that readily available in the hobby, so it would have been nice to get that breeding done, but yeah, I kind of screwed it up. So this is Nikita. This is the female Chromatopelma cyaneo pubescens, the green bottle blue. Well, again, I'm not 100% positive if these tarantulas are going to eat or not. It's all going to depend on if they're ready or not, but I want to give her a shot and see if she'll come out here for this worm. Sometimes with tarantulas, if they molt and they still have their wall up, they may not come out to eat. So you can see she's making absolutely no movement towards this. I'm sure she knows full well it's there with all the movement. Oh, maybe not. Here she comes. You ready to eat there? Yes, you are. Okay, so that went well. Like I said, you just never know. You try to give them as much time as you think that's reasonable. And she is relatively, actually she's on a table by herself over by where the heater or the vent comes out of the floor. So she's actually rather warm, more than the rest of the collection. She stays on the rather warm side because of the size of this Exoterra. But that doesn't mean she was ready to eat already. I didn't write down the molt dates for any of these guys. I'm just trying to go off my memory, which probably isn't the best thing to do. But yeah, so we're gonna just keep going with different things and different topics and go from there. Okay, guys, this is the Homoioma species blue, or blue Peru 2, again, whatever the hell. I just call them Homoioma species blue until anything gets rearranged. I can't remember if I fed this little one since it molted, but it's either going to be the first or second feeding. So yum yum yum, you want it. Yes, you do. Fantastic eaters. I mean, really, honest to God, they are fantastic eaters. Now, if you can look in, you can see in the enclosure, this part of the enclosure is a tad bit on the, I would say, not damp side, but damper side. This side is the dry side over here, all the way along through the plants. This is where it always hangs out, over on this damper part. Now, it goes down inside the little hole every now and then. As you can see, again, the weather's supposed to warm up, so hopefully this condensation crap's going to go away for me. I really don't want to have to go through and drill all kinds of new holes in these things, but if it doesn't go away when the weather warms up, then we're going to be forced to do that. So generally what I would like to do would be to drill holes at the top and then drill holes kind of at the substrate level, but it's kind of hard to do that unless you know exactly what's going in the enclosure, and then you'd have to, to recycle the enclosures, you have to make sure you're going to use a similar type of spider to be in that enclosure, because you can't fill it up. You don't want to really want to fill it up over the substrate line. Although some people do. I have done it with some fossorials, is drill some holes down below the line, you know, closer to the bottom to let some air circulate through the dirt that way. But I don't know how much it actually gets in there, but I've done it. I just like the method that I use here. These holes are all smaller only because of the sling sizes. This one probably could have had bigger holes. I think bigger holes would probably eliminate some of that condensation, but let's move on. Okay, so we have a molt. This little one molted a couple days ago, I think 2. Still kind of shiny in the carapace, but I'm not quite sure that's going to get too much darker on this molt, but by the next molt it should be. This is the Bumba cabocla, Brazilian redhead, right? I think that's what they're called. Beautiful black abdomen, beautiful black legs. They remind me a little bit of the Holothelli longipes as far as the body structure is concerned. Similar in size. I think these Bumbas actually get around 4 to 5 inches, I believe, as females. They're not. I wouldn't consider them a dwarf species, but I think some people do. So yeah, that's one of the recent molts that we've had. Won't be feeding this one for a little while yet either. Matter of fact, we might as well get that molt out while we're sitting here, huh? Too small to even worry about me sexing, as I don't have a microscope set up. I do have the macro lenses, which sometimes I can tell with small spiders, but to me right now at this size, it doesn't make no difference to me one way or another if this is a male or a female. Another couple molts, yeah, then it would, but this one not. Okay, this pretty little girl molted the other day as well. 3 days now, I think, 3 or 4 at the most. This was a very good molt, very good intact. I didn't really have to uncurl it very much, and it is a 100% confirmed female. So I have 2 females now, 1 adult, and this little small juvenile. It's still got a good 2.5 times to grow, the size that it is right now. It's only about 2 inches, if that. It needs to grow to about 4 for it to be fully mature and adult. But the spermathecae was already dark, believe it or not. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think that she would be ready to breed yet, but I was surprised actually how easy she was to sex. It was actually very, very easy for the size molt that she had. So, okay, let's move on to a couple other molts. Okay, here is another tarantula that molted last week. We're definitely past the 7 days, I believe, because it doesn't show the little symbol on my phone anymore. I'm just going to throw a very, very tiny cricket in for this one. This is the Grammostola rosea, and the other one, which would be quote-unquote the Grammostola porteri, which is actually just a Grammostola rosea, dark color form. We'll be feeding that one too because they molted on the same day. We'll see if this one is interested in this little tiny cricket. If it is, then I will definitely feed the other one, but I never can tell. I need you to go down there where, oh yeah, she took it. So she was ready. Probably could have gave her something a little bit bigger, so we'll feed her again in another couple days and probably give her a small mealworm. So maybe we'll try a mealworm with the Grammostola rosea dark color form. Porteri, not porteri. Right back. Okay, so here is the Grammostola rosea / porteri. DCF, dark color form. Grammostola rosea central, whatever you want to call them. There's the molt, and you can see it is impossible for me to get to. It's buried underneath a good 3 inches of dirt. I have no way to get there. If anybody tells you that Grammostolas don't dig, show them this video, because look, all the way across, dug out that whole corner. We'll flip her around, all the way across there, all the way across there, and you can see the tarantula right there. There is a mealworm in there. I don't know if she has it yet. She doesn't appear to. I put one in to dig down. I don't know if it actually made it down there yet or not. I have no idea what the sex of this one is or the other one because both their molts are unretrievable. So unless they decide that they're gonna throw them out for me, I have no way to get them. So okay, that's that for that one. Okay guys, as you can tell, this is Avicularia species. I'm not quite sure what it's going to turn out to be, but based on what I see so far of the coloring and the way that the hair is on the rear legs, I'm going to think that this is possibly a morph type 6. This was Simon, the 7-legged Avic that molted all 8 legs, and you can't even tell which one was missing. She looks perfectly normal. I did not sex the molt. Oh wait, is that the leg? No, that's all leg. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't remember which one she was missing, to be honest with you. I'd have to go back and look at pictures to see, but yeah, came through the molt perfectly fine. Now, Cinco is being stubborn, still hasn't molted yet, and we're just going to leave this little bugger in here. Seems to be perfectly fine. I like, she's very content. She's made her little web up top, and she hangs out here when I take the lid off and she's not wanting to be bothered. She will be fed in a few days, probably Monday or Tuesday. Okay, here is one of the new Tarantula Marinus Tete. This is number 3. This is the one that I thought was going to molt. If you remember, if we go back to the video and we go back over it, I said that number 2 was the second biggest, number 1 was the first, this one was the smallest, but once this one molts, it would probably catch up to number 2, if not catch up to the size of number 1. And this one molted about 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 days ago, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Seems to be perfectly fine and content and happy. So this one will be fed again. You know, if it's been 4 days, we probably could try and feed it now. Let's give it a shot. See, now, there was a little bit of mold in this one. And this one had no condensation in it, believe it or not. And this one had a little bit of spot mold right here in the corner. So you can see this darker earth here. I grabbed a little scoopful of springtails and threw them in there. I honestly don't remember if this one ate on film when we did film those guys. I want to say it didn't, but I can't be sure. So we will just throw we'll just try throwing a tiny little eensy beensy cricket in there and see if the little one wants to eat. And then we're going to try and feed the Harpactira pulchripes again, because that one again molted and had some fruit flies, but I want to try giving it a cricket and see. Did you jump out of there? Little snot crickets. I don't think I actually ever had it in there. Again, there may be no interest in this whatsoever, but we'll give it a shot. While we're watching, again, I want to thank everybody for commenting on my videos, especially the last few. The views have gone up quite a bit. We're averaging at least 140 to 150 views per video now, which is getting better, and of course that has to do with the amount of subscribers that we have. We're still 75 or 76 short of 1,000, so we're getting there slowly. There's been some issues with YouTube last few days. A lot of the people have been commenting about you know, gaining a bunch of viewers or gaining 10 or 15. Ray from Jeepers Creepers gained, like, he went from, I don't know, 7 or 800 to like 2,000 in 2 days, and then he's dropped back down to 1,400. So we're wondering if there's, you know, some bot activity that's giving people subscribers, and YouTube is finding these out, or paid subscriptions. Basically, you're paying someone to create a bot to do subscriptions to your channel. So yeah, yesterday I started out at 920 906, and in the afternoon I had 919, and then by the end of the day I had 923, and then I woke up this morning to 924. So I've been all over the place the last couple of days, and I think a lot of people have. Some people have been very stagnant. They haven't got any new subscriptions lately. So, please go to my list of my subscriptions. Check those people out, and go give them a like and a subscribe if you don't mind. You might find some channels that you really enjoy and you want to watch quite a bit. I do remember now this one did not eat, because I remember the cricket going down there where it just did, and then eating it later on, or it coming back out later on. I took it out later on. So this one probably won't eat. It's probably not ready yet. So we're going to get that cricket out of there, and we're going to give it to, we'll try the Harpactira pulchripes, or pulchripes, or pulchripes, and see if that one might want to eat. Okay, this little guy's dicey. A lot more dicey than the last one that I had, to be honest with you. But we're going to see what it does. You can see it over there on the top right-hand corner underneath the webbing on the log. But we're going to throw this little cricket in there and see if it might want to consume it for dinner, lunch, breakfast. I believe it really does, and it does. Yes, it does. I can't wait to grow this one up again. I mean, having that last one was just absolutely wonderful. And again, the only reason I got rid of it is just to help a friend out, because they're such a popular species and they're a good seller. And I thought, letting her breed them, because she has many more connections than I do. So her being able to find a male, and she has the means because of the business to be able to do some things that I can't do. So I let Ruth have it for some trade of some other things, and I don't know that she's actually found a male or started to find a male or bred her yet, but I would think by the end of this year I would hope that she would have bred her and have babies, and be able to get some more of these little dudes out there into the hobby. But all right, so let's see what else we have that. I don't think there is anything else that molted, to be honest with you. But we're going to feed a couple more that have molted recently. We're going to try the Brachypelma albiceps, Brachypelma bamei, and my serrated jars darlingi, and then we'll probably end there. Okay, guys, we're going to try and feed the serrated jars darlingi. She is right at the edge of her burrow over here. Yep, she's ready. Let's see if she brings it out or if she takes it down. I had a feeling she would eat. Sometimes I don't know what she's going to do when she does eat. Again, this is her first feeding post-molt. No, she's all the way down. I don't think she's going to bring it out. So at least she ate. That's a good thing. And we're going to hit up the bamei and the albiceps. And again, I'm not really quite sure if they're going to eat or not, but we'll probably go with crickets for them and see how they do. Okay, so here is Morton. This is the Brachypelma bamei. You can see how absolutely gorgeous he is. And I was considering possibly trying to work out some deals to get these males to other people that have, older juvenile or young adult females, and then they would kind of mature together. But I think I'm just going to keep my Brachypelmas, and I'll just raise the boys and live with them for the next 7 or 8 years and see what happens. I mean, they're great species. They're beautiful even if they're males. So let's try and feed him, see if he's actually ready to eat. Oh yes, he is. Wonderful. This is first feeding post-molt, and you can see his water dish is dry. Although he'll probably flick hairs at it. I hope the albiceps eats. I fed a few tarantulas off camera prior to starting the film today. The Aphonopelma siamani female was not all that impressed with the worm in the beginning, but finally took it. The suspected female, Brachypelma albopilosum honduran, or what people continually call hobby form, which I don't really know why. She ate, which she didn't eat the last time, so I actually thought she was going in pre-molt, but she's not. And the 2 Tarantulas marinus, Chaos definitely ate. I'm not quite sure about Bantu if she came up and got the worm, but I don't see it right now, so I'm assuming that she did. So those ones were all fed. Oh, we're going to feed the Salmopaeus pulcher male too, by the way. We're gonna get something in there for him to eat as well. I don't know how well we'll be able to film it, but we're going to give it a shot and see. Okay, let's get the Albiceps out, and we'll end with the pulcher, which probably would be the wrong tarantula to end with because I'm not quite sure how well we'll be able to film. Okay, so here's Kevin. He's yeah, I wished he would come out so we could really see him, but we're going to throw his cricket in there and see if he has any interest in it. They say that the Albiceps are pretty good eat. Oh, yes, he does have interest in it. That's what I want to see. The Albiceps are supposed to be really, really good eaters, especially after molt, until they get into pre-molt, then they're horrid. Which, you know, it's Brachypelma, so that's kind of synonymous with a lot of them, but I found like my Hamoris tend to eat quite closer to a molt than some of the other Brachypelmas that I've had. I do have another cricket in here that I was going to give Kevin too, so we'll see if that one will go down into the burrow. Oh, he got it. Well, please come on out so we can see you. Joyous days. There you go, Kevin. There's number 2. You want it? He just hangs out underneath this, whatever you want to call this plant thing. I like it because the plant's really cool. But he kind of just hides in there. Let's see if we can get him to move a little. More people just want to see you. I want to see you. Or, you know, you can be stubborn and not move at all too. That's fine. So we'll just do this. Screw you, buddy. I got other ways. So there he is, another empty water bowl. Let's take care of that while we're here. Huh? Man, how can you not like these things, huh? I do have a little baby yet, so be able to grow that one up a little, and then we have the little tiny erotum yet that seems to be doing well. It's molting good, so I'm kind of pleased with that. I always worry about little slings, but it seems like the Aphonopelma, Brachypelma, Nandus, they're pretty much bulletproof. Lasiodora, you could pretty much, you know, I mean, they still have some problems here or there, but maybe this other cricket will get, nope. You still have some issues here or there with them, but for the most part, they're rather easy to take care of. The erotum has been eating the smallest crickets that I can find for him, but probably would be fine with flightless fruit flies as well. Okay, I'm going to switch over lights because this one's dying. I did charge it. This was the ring light that I had on. Wow. I'm going to end here. I'm actually going to feed the pulcher off camera. I'll film something of it maybe if it does decide to eat, but just wow. I mean, how can you can't really, how can I go to another tarantula after looking at this thing? Again, when he came in, he had that, you know, different coloring of his carapace, but not that gold like that, not that real deep tan that you see We'll still try and get this cricket. We'll just try to give Kevin one opportunity to take two. Maybe he'll give us another quick munch, another quick takedown of that cricket in front of him. Morton molted a few days before Kevin did, and I think Kevin was about 7 days, maybe 10 days ago. So juvenile, again, I wouldn't feed them if I didn't think that they could eat. So you get a lot of people that say, "Oh, you gotta wait this long amount of time," and you know, yes, it can be safe that way, but you can try feeding them. If they don't take it relatively quickly, or you know, the cricket goes by them 3 or 4 times, they make no move for it, they're not ready. So you could see as soon as he felt that cricket moving, he actually made a move for it, got the second one I put in. The first one's still hanging around there, but ooh, nice little shakies. That was interesting. See, the cricket was shaking, trying to get a foothold on the ground to try and escape, which they're not going to be able to. You know, I mean, these small little invertebrates that they feed on, these insects, they're not going to get away from these tarantulas. Now, if you see your tarantulas like standing up, tippy toes, they're worried about them trying to get away. So that's just kind of a natural thing for them, is to stand up taller to create space between the earth and the prey item, so that A, nothing from below comes to try and get it, and B, the prey item doesn't grab foothold and try to get away. And I think that would be more synonymous with things like maybe lizards, or you know, small mammals, or small rodents that they would take in the wild. That cricket just doesn't want to move. I really want to end the video, but I really want to see another quick takedown, and I got to take a beautiful picture of this guy. This will be definitely one I want to take some pictures of for some prints, because I have none of him or the Bamey. So I want to get a couple pictures of these two guys. So next time that I'm at Walmart and I'm bored and I want to make some prints, then I can get some of these two guys. And yeah, so overall it's been a wonderful, wonderful update, this and that, little bit of everything video. My other Davus Penaloris, that male, it just does not want to molt, and I'm worried that it's not a male. I mean, I didn't say anything in the last molt that would lead me to believe that it's female, but it's almost the same size as the female. So that's got me just a tad bit concerned that I may have 3 females. But Amy and Quentin do have a mature male coming into them that she offered, if they get theirs to breed, that if he's still alive, I would assume that she would have no problem sending him to me to breed away here. Now, come on, cricket. Now do something. Anything. All right, we're going to have to help it. Nope, didn't want it. Okay, so that was very anticlimactic. We waited all this time to see if Kevin would take 2, and he didn't. So I want to thank everyone for sticking in for this last 8-minute shot of this, or 8-minute clip of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the updates and some of the feedings. And if anything else molts or does anything out of the ordinary here in the next week, then we'll do another update video. I'd like to try and do at least one update video a week. So my plan is on Fridays will be an update video every Friday. Unless nothing happens, then we'll just do something different. But you know, this time of year, we should start getting to see some more tarantulas molting a little bit more often, because the temperatures are going to start to rise. Some of these little ones, you know, I mean, I don't power feed them at all, but I'm trying to keep to an every 4 to 5 day schedule with the tarantulas, the red fangs, the Avicularia. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pause you here because we're going to feed the Avicularia right now. Okay, so we're going to end here. This little dude's blue little feet have been sticking out of the entrance to his trapdoor for the last day or two. I know we just fed him the other day. That was his first post-molt meal. We're going to give him another small cricket because it's the last one I have. Probably end up, after I get done here, running to get some more crickets because I don't have a lot of nymphs, and I do need to feed all the tarantulas again. All the small guys that are inside the baseball cubes need to be fed again, so I'm going to have to go buy some small crickets. But let's try and feed this guy, and we'll end the video here. Now, don't blink. How do they always do that? So far, every cricket that I've thrown in here, anything I've thrown in here, always wants to go in that little divot, then climbs back out, will end up going over the trapdoor, and then disappear. Possibly. Come on, you dumb cricket, get out of there. Okay, you're definitely agitating me. What's funny about these guys is when they miss. The last one I had that was a female. I had her for about 1 year and 4 months. Before she died, she was terrible. She was a terrible hunter. She would miss probably this one don't miss. 75% of the time she would miss. And I knew when she was dying, I knew there was something wrong because she completely abandoned her burrow and she was just sitting up on top of the substrate all the time. Barely ever moved, wouldn't eat. You know, I couldn't get her to drink. You put her to the water dish. She'd turn around and walk away and go right back to her little corner. And then, of course, after about 1.5 weeks, 2 weeks of that, she finally passed away. So I was excited that, you know, Amy and Quentin bred these, and, you know, she gave me one as a gift. So, you know, this guy's a little special. And then I got another one coming from Vlad. So hopefully, you know, we get a pair, a male and a female. They're both about the same size, so I won't know, you know, for a little while. But great species. You know, I would love to breed these guys too. They're one of my favorite baboons just because of the way that they act, and you know, they don't get very big, so you know, you can pretty much keep them in one of these softball enclosures for pretty much their life. They don't get, I think, only 2 inches, maybe a little bit more, 2.5. I don't think they get much bigger than that, 3 at the most. But yeah, they're a lot of fun to have. They're pretty they're self-explanatory as far as the care. Try substrate. I do make sure that I dampen this substrate every now and then, and I try to do the opposite corners of the burrow and then a very good surface soaking. And I've done that twice since we've had this one in, because I want to make sure that this one has access to water, because water bowl in here just never really works out for me. It never did with my other one. So I'd have to invest in some of those tattoo ink cups. I think those would probably be better. I tried Legos, you know, and it just seems like the water just evaporates so fast. It just seemed easier to moisten the substrate and give it something to drink off the sides or out of the dirt itself, or surface water, however I could get moisture into the tarantula. That's why I tend to feed the ones that do not have water bowls a little bit more often than ones that don't. And that way they get all the moisture that they need from their prey if they're fed. And, you know, prey is gut loaded and they're fed on a decent schedule. You know, you don't want to get them too fat, of course, but if you're keeping them fed, they'll get the moisture, especially slings, out of their prey items. Now, a lot of people, Tom from Tom's Tarantula, or Big Spiders, Tom Moran, he likes to dampen down his slings. For the most part, he does that with all of them. He likes to keep them a little bit more damp, and that's worked for him. I haven't really found the need for it here, But I wonder a little bit if that's the reason a few of mine have passed away, that, you know, probably I had no reason to explain why. So I'm experimenting with two, and the two that I'm experimenting with are the Mozambiques. One I'm dampening down every few days to make sure the substrate's not damp, but looks not brown and dry like this. And the other one I'm just letting completely stay dry with a small water dish. So we'll see how that works out with those two. But yeah, again, you know, with this hobby, there's so many different ways to do things, and you know, nobody's way is completely wrong and nobody's way is completely right. And I'm sure Tom would agree with me on that fact that, you know, based on where you are and how you do things can greatly differ. Now, you've seen the amount of some of the enclosures that have some of the condensation that I have. A lot of people would go absolutely insane having that condensation in there. You know, it would drive them nuts. Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. And the funny thing is all the enclosures I have that do have the condensation in them, I have mold in none of them. But the two enclosures that were on that shelf, or two enclosures that were on that shelf that had no condensation in them, did have mold on it. So it did get some surface mold, so, or fungus or whatever it was. And you know, the white fuzzy thing, it looks like dandelion leaves or dandelion spores. Yeah, so doing things a different way sometimes isn't a bad thing. Trying things out a little bit different. I mean, I'm not trying to kill any of my slings by no means, but and I've had a good fair share of them not make it. But I always attribute that more to the fact that not all of them are supposed to make it. You know, a good percentage of them aren't supposed to make it, but they should thrive a little bit more in captivity than they would in the wild. So you would think that more of them in captivity would survive versus ones that just are weak and die. And I've had a handful that have been weak and died. I got 2 Nandu chromatuses in from a friend, and neither one of them lasted 2 weeks. They wouldn't eat, they wouldn't do anything, they wouldn't dig, they didn't go into little tiny hides I put in there. I took the hide out, put a little piece of bark in there for them. They did not move, and both of them died on the same exact day. Never one time did they eat. So yeah, you just never know sometimes. So okay, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, guys, and hope I didn't ramble too much. I probably did. I'm almost positive I did. Bye bye, guys.